Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again. Welcome to K.O.K Live on Afia TV. If you're watching on Afia TV, it's on channel 254 on DSTV and channel 17 on GoTV. You can also catch up with us on Afia TV official on all social media platforms. This is a podcast, and on a podcast, it's expected that the guest on the program talks from all perspectives, no holds barred, but to share the experience that will change society. And today, we're glad to have the topic is the death of family values against the backdrop of economic realities or hardship in Nigeria. When we talk about death, we're talking about DEARTH, which means lack, deficiency of family values against the backdrop of the realities in our country. So we expect our guest, who is already seated here, to give us a full knowledge, 100%, of how he grew up, what it was then, and what it is now. And tell us whether the economic realities should be part of sustaining the large and the lack of what families want. My guest today on this program is Chilaka Njoko. He hails from Imo State. He is the CEO of Sputnet Records and Managing Director of CWAT Nigeria. He's the man behind the discovery of one of the biggest artists from the Southeast region, Fino. And he is a telecommunications engineer who previously worked with the telecom company MTN. He's also into construction and agriculture. He's a public affairs analyst and advocate for the development of Alibo, where we are. He's happily married with children. You see, this is one part of the program I will want to ask and start with. Maybe it's a controversial note. Tell us how happily married you are. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
What does it mean to you to be happily married?
You know, my perspective is this. When you're happy going back home, when you're happy staying at home, when you are satisfied staying with your family, then you can say you're happily married.
But you and I know, without any pretext,
Yes.
that most men stay in the lounges and beer parlors till 10, 11 p.m. And the language is always like, by the time I get back, that idiot has slept.
That is where you do not have a happy home. You're not
But
happily
there's a
married.
lot of pretense too.
I know.
A lot of men are pretending.
Yes. So
They don't want to die. Let's be realistic
They're
here.
staying at home because they don't want trouble. Is that what you mean?
Yes, of course.
I know.
Most men run from their homes. They only come back after 11 p.m.,
To
1
reduce
a.m.,
conflict.
and the food on the table is never eaten. So when I hear he's happily married with children, I want to reiterate and ask, is this happily married for the sake of social media?
No.
Ask one and working on ma.
Look, I'll tell you a little bit of a story about me.
Okay.
The moment I started working, I had an ideology about marriage
Mhm.
because my parents lived together till the end, till my mom died some years back. You know, it wasn't all rosy, but I saw both of them committed in staying together. So I learned marriage to be that way. Growing up, I had a couple of cousins who had marital issues, mostly people living outside Nigeria. So while all that was going on, I was picking up lessons from them. Why are these people running into these problems? So I also didn't believe in living immorally. So I wanted to, the moment I got my finances.
Immorally, is it going to the nightclub? Because some people think,
No.
to go to the nightclub, that's sin.
No, it depends on what you do when you go to the nightclub. I had to go to nightclub a lot of times while doing music promo. But
Because I know that
purpose.
Fido, the champion of the music we all listen to, also leads us into the nightclub and also leads us out of the nightclub. I'm talking about our brother Flavor.
Today, music promo has even changed. It's more on social media. But back then, we used to go to the nightclub. So as early as 26, 27, I was conscious of getting a decent wife. So I started searching. It wasn't rosy. It wasn't easy.
Decent is a word. It's relative.
Yes. I know, but I knew what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I was measuring based on what I wanted. I met the first person, someone from Enugu State here. My parents were not 100% in support, but there are not those parents who will say, go here, don't go there.
Mm.
So I went into it, started the process. I knew, I can say that today, that I had some fears. But I let my emotion and my sentiments
To lead you.
to lead me because I had made promises to her quite early to marry her. So that was quite premature.
Mm.
So sometime, somewhere, I knew I was boxed up. I started trying to work on the inside to change things so that my parents and other people won't see what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a long time, during which I solicited for divine intervention. At some point, a lot of things, were not working. I knew it was time to work. This took me almost 2 years. So I was now approaching to an age.
And the girl was not also getting younger.
No. It was approaching to, if I tell you some of the things I did, trying to make this work.
It's good you share it on the podcast. Because one thing I know about podcasts is you got to speak so that people will not make the same mistakes. It's not necessarily for immoral speaking or...
Yes.
Please share some with us.
In some situations, okay, there was a time we had a serious conflict. So what happened was that she was in my room. And so I went to work. On my way back, I was a nightmare. I was working in Enugu then. I was not living here, but I was visiting. So I was in a hotel. So she was there. So I called her, I said, order food for me. I want to eat when I come back. I'm really hungry because I was coming from Benue State. So I got back to the room. A friend of hers was
there with her.
Yes. So, we're planning marriage. What's your friend doing here? And I saw her baggages. So I was like, is this girl going to sleep in this room? She said that her baby, she's just stranded. It's just for the night. Please don't be angry. I was already upset. So, but I managed it. Just like say, a lot of men will pretend for things to move forward. So I just managed it. They brought the food. I had already lost appetite out of that, anger. So after eating, I went to bed straight. In the morning, we had been discussing marriage. So we're going to get married in Enugu. We're going to do traditional wedding.
You are missing something before the morning. Una no do.
Obviously.
Because the presence of her friend, did it stop the doing the
No, there nothing could happen. Obviously. But that was not my worry.
Okay.
That girl in particular, I was not comfortable with her. And then you don't bring another lady into your matrimonial space. That's what it is at that point.
Yes.
So in the morning, we had discussed to have a traditional wedding. So I called my dad to inform him that look at the plans. He said, why do you want to? Okay, no. She came up with the idea of do traditional wedding in their village. So that we should do a white wedding in Enugu town. Then do traditional then. I had 2 elder brothers. They weren't married. So when I called my dad and said, look at the plan I have made. He said, why the rush? Why do you want to do, Then my dad was a commissioner in Imo State. So he said, I wanted the governor to come for your wedding. My first son getting married. Why don't you do your traditional? Then we can come do white, where? I mean, you've done what you need to do for your in-laws.
Okay.
In Enugu here. So I said, he said, why? What was driving this decision? I said, it's finances. He said, okay, give me a few minutes. I'll call you back. After 10 minutes, he calls me back and said, I'll give you ₦1 million.
As a den. That was good, big money.
So I said, thank you, Daddy, and got off the phone. I went to the girl to say that we have ₦1 million. Now we can do our wedding, traditional here. I can buy you a car, and we'll still have money. Because I know that the wedding, my dad will obviously host it. This girl took offense. Why would we discuss something and my dad would change it? I couldn't understand the perspective she was coming from. This was a conversation between me and her. Now we're talking in the bathroom because the other girl was in the room.
Yes.
This girl's voice started going up. I was trying to calm her down. It wasn't working. So today I understand what she was doing. She was trying to prove to her friend she was in charge and could control this dude.
Red flag.
Red flag. So before I knew it, she was holding my shirt. Yes.
Abodo style.
Serious 3 style. She wanted me to fight with her. I was being cautious. This is a hotel where then my company where I work for was. I don't want to call any names.
Mm-hmm.
So my colleagues were in other rooms around. So I didn't want noise coming out from my room, that kind of noise. I tried to manage it. It didn't work. She was shouting. Somehow the hotel people heard it and came. I managed to release
the hold.
My t-shirt.
Wow.
By that time, the neck of the t-shirt
was
already long.
Oh, no.
Down to here. So I quickly got into my wardrobe, took another shirt, and left for work. Left her and the girl there. So on my way out, I told her, I'll tell your parents you fought me because of your friend. And I told them you brought a girl to sleep in our room.
Very good.
And I left. On my way out, I said, do I really need this drama with the parents? I just went to work.
Okay.
As I left, little did I know, she ran to her parents with the support of her friend to go and tell the parents that
you fought her.
That I beat her.
Very good.
And the friend concurred. So when I came back from work in the evening, I went straight to the parents' house. We were arranging traditional weddings, so there are some things I had to discuss with the dad. So I came to the house. I stood almost 30 minutes. The dad didn't come out.
Because it's been reported that
you beat the daughter.
Yeah, you were fighting everywhere.
Yes. So I sent the brother again. I said, call Daddy. I'm waiting for him. After another 30 minutes, finally came out. Say, yes, what do you want? You have not started, you're already beating my daughter. Is that how you want to marry my daughter? I don't want to hear anything marriage here. I said, I did not beat anybody. Who told you that? He said, do you want her to say it in front of you? I said, yes. They called the girl. She was in the PQ. She came. And I asked her, did he beat you? She was,
I know
did he beat you? He said,
I know that look.
He said, yes. I told the man, I said, I'm really sorry. I don't expect you to believe me when your daughter is saying I beat her. So I'm sorry for whatever it is that offended you. I'm going to go now, okay? So I won't have to trouble you anymore. And I left the house. She came after me to the hotel.
She had the temerity to still come after you.
She started following me. She thought I was going to her parents, so she went to lie ahead of me. So I got to the hotel. She came. She was crying. She was all over the place. I told her, you've closed the doors. What do you want me to do? It didn't end there. So after a lot of begging, I really wanted to get married. I really wanted things to work. So I told her, I said, okay, you can go back to your parents, but you have to bring your friend along. Because whatever you say now, your parents will say, I've deceived you or convinced you to do that. Bring your friends and let her go and also say what she said before. Do you know what happened? Her friend refused to come.
Of course.
Now, the real thing I want to put down is this. When this was going on, the sister, because I was trying to get access to the mom to talk to the dad, the sister said that the mom said that if I want her to sort all the problems for things to move on, I should buy her a car.
Buy her a car?
Yes.
As
That's a bribe.
No, it's not bribery. Keep on talking. I'll tell you what it is.
A consultancy fee.
No, you are paying acceptance fee.
So for me, that is where my consciousness
you had to wake up.
I said, no, something is wrong.
Something is wrong somewhere.
How long am I going to be paying? That's where my first consciousness to leave came. It didn't take time. I caught her cheating.
Oh.
So I made up my mind to go. This was the first fight. This story is very long. If I continue,
no.
If I continue this story,
you stop it there because you know the cheating thing. It has become like normal in the relationships. But I think, but depends on your perspective. I'm a host, so I couldn't speak for you. Yeah. But I think is the greatest form of evil. Women who are in marriages cheating, have the first child for a man, have another child for the in the home, have a third child. They don't belong to the parents, the husband of the house. And the man finds out about 15 years or 20 years, he's been paying school fees. So what's your perspective on this cheating nature?
It's a no-go area. For me, it's a zero. There's nothing to negotiate. There's nothing to discuss. As a married woman, when I got married to my wife, I told her, I said, I'm very flexible. I'll forgive a lot of things.
But I will never forget the original sin.
Yes, I cannot forgive that.
So if you had somebody tell you today, how many children do you have?
I have 4 kids.
So if 3 are not from you or 2 are not from you,
I'll take mine.
You walk away.
What else?
All right.
There's no need putting up a fight. I mean,
all right.
You're not going to win that fight.
At this point, it would be good. Our listeners want to know, with the picture you've painted, tell us about your upbringing. That's why we're going to go to the family values and the depth of it and so on. What was your...
well,
you grew up where?
I grew up partly in Owerri.
Okay.
You know, my dad he was in the army, then civil service, and then politics. So I left home when I was, we're 7, 4 guys and 3 ladies. You know, my mom is a nurse. Okay. So we lived in a medium, like fair housing in Owerri, medium.
That's when nurses had conscience. Exactly. Not these days, they're not to tell you, okay, position your waist, now make I give you this injection, come out here now.
You know, so, I don't remember going to the hospital for any reason as a child. My mom treated us at home. So we had a big family, 9 people, 7 kids and our parents. You know, we had helps at every point in time when we were young. My parents taught every one of us to do every chore in the house. So I cook, I farm, I do everything. Well, though my sisters are not allowed to do the male chores, but we were doing the female chores. So I think about 9, I got admission to do secondary school. I was doing well, so my uncle, who was in UNN, decided to put, entrance exam for me. So I got admission to study in Nsukka secondary school. So I went to stay with my uncle. He's a bachelor, so I was living with him alone. So I stayed in Nsukka till I was, I entered university about 17. So studied computer science in UNN, and graduated from UNN. And started looking for a job. During that period, I also started doing my master's in business administration in Unical. So from my proceeds of my hustle in the street, I was paying my fees.
Not be today, hustle start to.
Then I got my first job, a little job, about 15,000 naira a month. Got under one of 30,000. Got under one of 45,000 before I, broke into MTN. So I worked for them for 14 years, 13 to 14 years. Before I left, I resigned. I decided to resign and do something else. I wanted to, develop myself. Because I knew I had an ideology that if you keep working for someone till you get old,
you can never get rich.
Outside getting rich, the moment you stop working, you're gonna be stranded. Because you're used to things being done for you. Yeah, you've not learned to take care of yourself.
Condition car, condition office,
even passage allowance to travel abroad, they take your bills, So at the point I said, I'm still have the energy now. Okay. This is time to work and support myself. So
how has the family values your parents inculcated in you as you were growing helped you in later life?
Well, a lot.
Your parents, were they strict? They were flexible?
My dad. My dad is still strict. If I'm in Owerri, I'm in his house. I don't go out after 6 p.m. till today. So if I'm outside
he was a headmaster.
He was a tough man. I remember once I came 13th or 12th. My brother came
in the
class. And I was locked up in the house, like something like a little cell he created in the house. I was locked up for like 2 days. So my dad is that tough. My brother once spent the money given to him by a guest. It was brutal for him. Yeah. I don't wish I were him. The flogging was enough lesson for all of us.
Yes.
So anything you get from a guest,
you have to show it to your parents and give it to them.
Give it to them.
To spend on your behalf.
Yes. You hand it over to them. So and then you don't eat from guests when they're in the house. That is a no. There are a whole lot of things. Someone comes to the house, you don't greet.
Oh. Part of original sin.
You will need divine intervention afterwards. So it was my dad was a tough disciplinarian, and he was also he's a strong Christian and Catholic. Okay. He's still alive. He's 88 now. So we serve mass. Every day, whether you wanted it or not.
Yes.
Every day of the week. So even the day I got married, when the bishop saw me, I was like, my master, you remember?
Yeah. So we were doing Kurukere Konakona Love. At what point? Because I, for one, I know very well that when I was growing up, it was like an anathema for your parents to see you with a girl or have a girlfriend. So what was it for you? Did you?
The very first girl my father saw with me was a fiancé. that I went to say, I want to marry this person. That's the very first time.
Did you bring her to your parents? Or?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I brought her. The same lady I'm talking about.
Okay.
I took her to my parents and said, I did this, outside that, my dad, no. But my mom, at some point, I showed her some people and said, I want to see
who I
like. She understood.
Mm-hmm.
She met one outside the house, unofficially, and she liked the girl. My mom was a little bit more flexible. But for my dad, you don't bring him.
Headmaster is headmaster. Headmaster no one even become principal.
Yes.
Now, where did we start getting it wrong, in your own estimation? Because we have situations these days where a man walks into a house, comes to say to the father or mother, "Boro Nkechi, call Nkechi for me." Where did we start? And the mother will generously walk in.
My thought is this. I would drag a story first. In the past, somebody who sells granuts, for example, would portion them in bits of one kobo and put in a tray in front of their compound and go to the farm.
Yes.
If you're passing by, you want granite, you take one portion
and
put the money under the tray. Nobody comes to touch that tray.
That's it.
So when those things were things that were celebrated, people who stayed clean and moral. When we changed, I remember when the 419 people started trending. For me, that was when the problem started.
Okay.
I know the Civil War had its impact, from my study of history. But the one I saw with my eyes is when the 419 people came and money became the standard of measurement of success and achievement. People with money were the ones being celebrated.
Yes.
So it became totally commercial. That's the point where the problem started. Why? Because, every parent wanted their own child to succeed. And if the parameter for measurement of success is money, you want your child to make money. So we started training gradually. Anything that doesn't get measured doesn't get corrected.
Exactly.
So nobody was measuring or trying to check. We started making people who are supposed to be criminals traditional rulers.
Exactly.
Started, when the military...
Giving them front pews in the church, calling them to be chief launcher, even when we know their criminal intent.
The military also played its role.
Okay.
When they did the election, I think it was Babangida's election, the first one, and cancelled it. The new breed politicians.
Yes.
Who had a good setting. They cancelled it. When they set for the second one, the decent people did not show up.
Yes. Because they thought it also was going to be cancelled.
So it was those hopeless people. Like me and you, when we left school, we believed in what we studied. So we went to look for jobs. And we've got jobs. There are people who knew if they went for interviews, they were not going to pass. These are people that hit the street. Today, some of them are better than you and I monetarily because they were ready to do anything, knowing that they don't stand a chance going through the straight path. That is what happened in politics. The criminals came to contest for election because they had money, they had nothing else to do. That's how they started becoming governors. And since then, they're holding the whole country and the society, the norms, under siege. And
are still buying deeply into it with a large pocket.
Every day. Because the young boy who's giving birth 20 years ago doesn't know anything different from this as what works. Go carry ballot box, win election, and you start becoming the celebrity. Everybody starts celebrating.
What's your angle or thinking about Egombute?
It's part of this ideology I'm talking about. Nobody wants to go. I know how many years I've worked. I know how many years I've put in. Some young man came to me one day and said that he wanted to be like me. I said, really, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, do you know that I had to drink garri sometime without sugar? Not because I didn't like sugar, because sugar was a luxury. I said, do you know I've eaten rice that had only crayfish in it? It didn't have tomato to survive.
Not because you don't like
Not because I don't like crayfish.
Yes.
I've lived in this. My dad was a commissioner at some point. I was living with a security man in a security house in a company in Transamadi in Port Harcourt. Because I wanted to succeed. I didn't want to come home. I wanted to succeed because I was struggling to get something. I was doing a job that was paying me 15,000. I couldn't pay rent. So when I was telling him these things, he started his countenance started changing. I said, this is just a few. Do you know I did my master's, paying my fees? True. Nobody was paying for it. And I didn't have a job at the time. I had the discipline to save every kobo. I used to go to companies then to install antivirus in their computers. Then it was 5,000 naira. I've stayed 2 days without food. I had to go to an aboki. There's a friend of mine, a Deke. He lives in Lagos. He knows this story. There's this aboki that lives near. We're staying in a friend's house in Port Harcourt, in Sangana Street. We didn't have food to eat. We'll go to that aboki and beg him. Aboki. He will give us 5 naira biscuit, 2 each. And then we'll take condensed milk, 1 each. And that was the meal for 2 days. I told him, do you know I went through all this? And I stayed focused. And I kept reading. I kept studying. I studied computer science in university. I worked as a computer scientist just for 2 years. I realized that I was a support staff at each time I worked. I changed my profession too. I joined MTN as a mechanical engineer. I trained myself. I told him that, do you know I changed my course without going to any university? I trained to be a mechanical engineer. Do you know I also worked as an electronics and electrical engineer for companies without going to university? I have 2 masters. I paid through by myself. I didn't spend those monies on fancy things. He was quiet. I told him, do you know how many times I tried before I got my wife? 4 times. She was the 4th attempt. Are you willing to try 4 times?
Or even more?
Or you just see a girl that has
the usual egombute of the backyard.
Yes. And then you follow her through.
Yes.
And an elder sees
without caring her background or where she's coming from.
And somebody calls you and says, I said, my son, there's no road here. And you still go because you
are old school. I'm seeing the road.
You allow your sentiments and your emotions to lead your way. That will not lead you to where I am. I told him, I say, you must, you must carry discipline on your back at every point in time. Listen to good counsel. Like me, I choose who I listen to counsel from. You must have excelled in the area I'm going to ask for your advice. So as a young boy, as early as when I was 16, I did IT every year I was in university. First year, nobody asked me to. I wanted to learn. We went on strike. I did 7 months IT because we were on strike for like 8 months. Each time we were on strike, I went for IT. He allowed me to learn every aspect of the economy. So the boy was suddenly quiet. He said, boss, you've gone a long way. I said, yes. Are you ready to go the long way? He said, boss, it's not the same thing. Then I said, it's the same thing.
The same thing.
It's the same thing. So you're already telling me you're not ready to go through the right path. So I understand the limitations in thinking. They can't imagine going through all those pains. We knew life to be that way. You have to succeed by working hard. So that's the ideology taught to us.
Yes.
Today I still do it with my kids. Sometimes I dry up things in the house. I take out their supplies. And I tell them, Daddy doesn't have any money.
That's it.
There's once I told him, I said, I don't have any money anymore, but there's something we can do online. We can be updating information or writing documents for people, they pay us. All of them came to and said, Daddy, let's help you. So I got them laptops and they were writing things. I simulated it.
That's it.
And I got paid. I told them we've been paid. I'm building a culture of working for them.
That's it. Financial management too.
My car, I pay the car wash person 2,000 naira to wash my car. My son is 14 now. I said, you know what? No more pizza for you. If you want pizza, my car.
That's it.
2K.
That's it.
You wash 8 times, you got a pizza.
That's it.
I'm sending in the culture of earning.
And hard work.
My dad built a house in the village. He didn't put fence in it. For so many years. Then we thought my dad was wicked to us. He made us go to the village during holiday, cut bamboo. We'll go to the bamboo to cut bamboo and use it to make a frame and use zinc to... The same zinc they used when they were building the house. We're constantly using it to keep a fence around the house for so many years. I can do carpentry work.
That's good.
Alongside a lot of other things.
That's it. Now what this takes us to the... in those days, there's this thing about young men of the same age, Ebiri, that they call it.
Age grade, yeah.
Age grade, and then It was a very beautiful thing in Igbo land. So beautiful that if you grew of age, your age mates will come help you build your hut
Yes.
and so on. Nobody gets paid. You just cook for them, give them palm wine
Yes, yeah.
as you can afford. Then it gets to this person's turn.
Everybody goes.
That's it. It's something that we need to reenact always, you know. But it's all gone. What you now have is envy. What car does it drive? This and that.
Competition.
And that. Yeah. So, in this sense, what would be your advice for us to reenact such things that brought more unity to our families, to our communities right now?
Well, I don't know who I should be talking to in this case because it's everybody that is involved. And it has to start with the older ones like us. I personally, I'll give you an example. There's a boy who came for an interview in my office once. He got a third class in engineering. So I saw the panic when he sat down. So I asked him a couple of questions. He was jittery. He couldn't answer. I told him, "You're scared?" He said, "Yes, sir." "Because you have a third class?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "It doesn't matter."
It doesn't matter.
Tell me what you can do.
That's it.
He said he can arrange things. He can, I told him, "Really? Are you an engineer?" He said, "Yes." And I told him, I said, "I'm going to employ you. But you have to work." I said, "I'm going to be on your case. But you have to tell me something sincerely." I said, "Why did you get third class?" He said he was distracted. They were drinking beer and walking around in school. I said, "Okay, good. So now you know what your problem is."
Yes.
So are you seeing an opportunity to learn something from the mistake you made? He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, go. I'll take you." I employed him. He started working with me. I kept his table next to mine. For me, I took it as a responsibility to inject one deluded man back into society, rehabilitated.
Who will always be on his toes.
Yes. So because of that opportunity I gave to him, this boy worked his ass off.
Yes.
He worked so hard, did very well in that job, learned it, became an expert in it. I grew him to another job. Till now, as I speak, he still works and I put him where he works. And he's doing excellently
well.
Excellently well.
Yeah.
He has a family, he's married, his wife's a doctor, he's doing very well. I received an award, I think it was last month, the Pan-African Award. So I called him at the end, a day before I left. I said, "I'm going to Lagos. I'm receiving so-and-so award." He said, "Boss, I'm coming." I said, "You're sure?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I should tell him the day we're going." He bought the tickets. He paid the hotel accommodation. He rented an SUV that I used in Lagos.
Wow.
For me, it was so much joy. I remember when I used to, because I would go home, when I look at what he's wearing in the office, I'll go and pick up shirts from my wardrobe and give him to go and adjust it to his size. Now, I will have to adjust to wear his shirt because he's a lot bigger. I was just thinking about this little boy I used to, my wife used to give me breakfast because I can't eat very early. When I eat in the office, I eat half and I give him half. I said, this is a young man now paying my flights, it gives me a lot of joy.
Of course.
And this is what it should be. When we start finding joy in helping other people. He spoke about Fino. The first time I met Fino, who was Fino? He was out of love.
Okay.
I saw him in one joint. I had an artist that was working with me then. That one wasn't putting any effort. He would ask for money to do everything. I saw Fino sharing his CD everywhere. He came to me to give it to me. I told him I have it already. So I asked him, say, "How are you working? Who is helping you?" He told me that the man who was helping him just got shot. In the bank robbery some days back. I told him, "Let's talk later." I told God, I'm going to help this boy.
Okay.
The story is a long one.
It's a long one.
That's how I decided to help him.
Yeah.
The one that was before him, I've been watching him on stage performing. Dodge, that's his name.
Okay.
He used to, perform with Slow Dog. They used to be called DSD.
Okay.
I've been admiring them. So one day I went to Artisan here. Then I came to Enugu Newly to work on my car. And I saw him come out from a tiny room that looks like a cage. I was living in a duplex all by myself. My wife wasn't here then. She was nowhere. And a young man like me was living in it. I don't know if you know the artisan quarters.
Yes, I do.
The kitchen.
Yes.
That's what he was living in. I said, "How do you use the toilet?" He was like, "Okay, don't worry."
Nayad.
I told him to go and look for a house. I was a salary earner. I was not a rich man. Today, Dodge is doing very well.
Yes.
Yes, he didn't succeed in music like he wanted to, but he's doing very well.
Mm-hmm. But Phyno is a big name. How focused was he? Phyno?
Very hardworking.
Mm.
I give it to him. Phyno will sleep. He's ready to sleep on the floor of the studio for 5 days. If he has a job, he's delivering. There's one of his songs called Paso. I never forget that song. Then he had started making some money. He had a 2-room apartment in Omole Estate. So I came from the US, J. Martins came to pick me in the airport. Okay. So I told him I was staying in Phyno's house, not in your house. Because he wanted me to stay in his house. So I went to his house, ate, and then went to Phyno's place. Phyno played that song for me. I told him I didn't like the beat. He said, boss, it's good. Let me record it. You like it? I said, okay, fine. You're the artist. So I went to bed. Time zone, I was sleepy. Mm. I woke up around 2 a.m., which was supposed to be daylight in the US.
Yes.
And I saw Phyno in the studio. That song had been on repeat. I've been hearing it in the studio. He was in his studio, playing the song on repeat. I was lying on the bare floor. He would sleep a little bit, he would wake up. Listen. When I came in, he woke up. He started listening to the song again. He was recording himself. I went back to the room. I told him to come and sleep a little. He said, no, that he hasn't finished what he wants to show me in the morning. He knows I'm going, that he has to finish it. That's one. The first time I gave Phyno money to buy flight ticket, he wanted to join a show Emma was performing in Abakaliki. It was in Lagos. I gave him the money. In the morning, I saw Phyno in my office in Enugu here. I said, how far? Which flight did you use?
I got my night boss.
I said, no, night boss. Because he needs that money. Okay? So he's just like, he just reminded me of someone else. There's one guy, MC Love.
MC Love. Who died?
He died, yes.
Died, yes.
MC Love recorded something with Dodge when Dodge was under my level. They came to my office. So I gave them money to go to Ababa to record. Then gave them some money for transport. Mm. They didn't use transport. It was later that 2 of them told me the story. He told Dodge, I gave Jega beans. And they walked to Ababa. You see, such things for me.
Yes.
Because I had worked for 4 hours because of 15 naira. Because I didn't have 15 naira.
Yeah.
So I know the discipline and what it puts inside you as a human being when you start operating in that realm. So I saw a very disciplined young man in Phyno, and he was focused. He knew what he wanted to achieve. Phyno he bought his home of about 100 and something million, living in a 2-room apartment. Mm. He did not rent a duplex. He did not buy a big car.
That's it.
He bought a house. That is focused. When I was with my mechanic this morning, I went to pick up my car that they did some work in. We're discussing, because I saw a lot of Mercedes cars there. Our young boys today, when they make money, they will buy a car of 60 million naira and live
on rent.
On rent. And he's going to the club to pop drinks of 100,000 naira.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
There's a disconnect.
That's a disconnect, yes.
Yes. And for me, it starts from the home front. Like how I started.
Yeah.
My kids, I'm selling it. In fact, my son is going to go to learn mechatronics. Okay. He's going to a mechanic workshop.
Okay.
To learn.
Wow.
He's a smart kid. Mm. He's doing well in his engineering. So I want him to be a practical engineer. Okay. Not a paper engineer.
He's 14, right?
He's 14.
Wow.
So he's on holiday. If I go home now, I'm going to talk to my wife about it. So you just have to be intentional as a parent for your children to succeed. Yeah. For your children to be disciplined.
Yes. Well, I thank you for bringing out this part of the discourse, because what many people see in those who are called celebrities or top actors is
the finished work,
glory, not the story. Like K.O.K, I have my stories to tell. I dug pit toilets, which is in the public domain. Now, you've told us about Phyno, and this is also an opportunity to tell everybody, they call me Nine Sacrifice. To the glory of God, it's one platform I use to educate younger people. I mean, you saw Phyno, to God be the glory, he's on the floor telling you, Oga, I never finished shooting, I want to show you. So every young man out there, what sacrifice have you made? Have you laid on the floor? You don't have to go through what we went through, but there's need for you to make some sacrifices for your tomorrow. Yes. It's very important. And this idea of the first thing that occurs to a young man for whatever he does is to go and buy a car, not even to invest in a property. It's a very wrong one. And that takes me to the next thing I will ask you about, what the kind of youths we have now. A statement was made by the outgone President Buhari that Nigerian youths are lazy. It brought some discourse. You know, I don't know what to say, but maybe the one who made a statement was a problem. But is it true that Nigerian youth are lazy? That will take us to the angle of we knowing what has happened to the families and so on. Because I think it's a very sad thing that after your parents have sent you to school, university, and so on, at 30, 35 years, still eating in your father's house.
This takes my mind to something. There's a primary school where my kids attend. On one of the PTA meetings, I was sitting at the back. It was mostly women. The guys don't come for PTA. They don't want to know about their kids.
That's it.
This is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you what happened at the meeting. The school wanted to take views from parents on how to make amendments. There are a lot of stories. Parents say, we want the classroom air conditioned. We want the kids this, we want that, we want this, we want that. Then someone even said that they give them too much assignments. I mean, I was just listening.
How can this small head take 13, 15 subjects?
Yes, they're giving them too much assignments. They're this. You know, the one that blew my mind is one mother said that the kids, the food they give them, because they feed them in school, that is not enough. That the kids come home very hungry. You know, and that she has to drive into Crunchies or some eatery to give them food before they get home. So I was itching for everybody to finish talking because I like to talk at the end. So when they all finished, I now told the proprietor I went to say something. I stood up. I said, I heard all the speeches, all the things you people want for the children. We all love our children. I mean, people spoken out of love and emotions. Well, let me ask you, this child you think should not be hungry at all. You don't want your child to be hungry at all. I said, which one of us to not come back from school hungry when we were in school?
On our own time.
Yes.
Yes.
It's only when you're hungry you place value on food.
Yes.
I said, which one of us?
Yes.
Did he kill you?
Very good.
One. Two.
Did you always, were you always driven to school or you trekked?
I said, you want your child not to be able to bear heat or natural, like room temperature. You want them to be frozen.
Yes, always.
And you want them to eat at any point. They should be eating constantly so they will never get hungry. That's the only way. I told them, I said, do you know there are children growing up in the streets in Ababa that eat once a day? Do you know there are kids growing up in the streets in Onitsha who go out to sell pure water and sell all sort of things before they can eat? What chance does your frozen kid that eats pizza and shawarma have with fighting in the same society with these people?
Yes. I
say you're killing your children before they are born. You're the problem of your children.
Yes.
Not the children.
That's it.
I say every human being has the ability to adapt.
Ability to adapt. Say it
How
again.
did cheese come about? How did yogurt come about?
Yeah.
He's trying to stop, to survive.
Exactly.
I say, difficult times pushes human beings to innovate, to think.
Exactly.
You're taking away the ability of your child to strive, to innovate, to think.
Fit into the society. The reality of the moment.
A friend of mine, may so rest in peace, he's late. There's a time they were having issues with managing the parents' resources. So he told me that it's his mother that is the problem. That when they were small, during our time, their dad was rich. And when they finish eating dinner, they fry a tray of chicken and keep on the table for them to eat while they are watching cartoon.
Too much money.
See,
Too much
nobody
happiness.
goes
No.
to look for what they have.
Yeah.
So when you sold to your child that you have it, they don't learn the culture of fighting. They're gonna be stranded.
Maybe stranded. When they see the real, while I was studying philosophy, we were told, is this Chinese philosophy? A particular king never allowed his son to see suffering, poverty, people, that a human being could die. So one day the prince left the palace And then there was a crowd gathered somewhere, and the prince had asked, "What's going on?" As somebody was trying to explain, the prince walked close and saw a man stretched out. People were weeping. The first day the prince saw a corpse.
Yeah.
The first day the prince saw people could weep. All he has seen all his life was merriment.
Celebration, yes.
The prince refused to come back to the palace after that. So when we deny our children the opportunity or the chance to see the other side of life, many parents think they are doing their kids a favor. Yes, I agreed with the insecurity in the country. We don't want our children to trek to school. We don't want them to do this. And uncle could poison a child and so on. But then we need to also know that there are realities out there. And that takes me into a new angle that I have just discussed with people and so on. And I said, do you know in Nigeria today, and you have to give me your perspective,
Okay.
those who are in leadership are the ones who never did well in school. They were business savvy, but academically deficient. If you come to those who come to the school, 2 weeks exam, these are the guys leading Nigeria today. If a chicken gets lost in a village, it is them.
They're responsible.
That's it.
You know what I said before, when I said when the military people disenfranchised the smart and decent people,
Yes.
and the criminals came in. I also mentioned that these people, when they left school, they were hopeless. They knew they couldn't fight with some of us who knew what to do
Yes.
or what to answer at the interview. So they didn't even take a shot. Some of them were with past degrees, third class. They never fought. This man who knew that he was deficient fought. I'll give you a little, there was this little story, something that happened in my house. We're 4 guys and 3 girls, like I said before. Someone poured water on my mother's bed. We had a suspicion because my mom had flogged one of my brothers. So my dad called us. Nobody agreed to be responsible for it. So he came to us and he brought 7 sticks and gave everyone. And
4
told
boys,
us
3 girls.
everybody had one broomstick. He said, I know the length of everybody's stick. Go. I've done something to it. By the time you come back, the person that committed the crime, his own stick will grow longer. An innocent man has nothing to worry about.
Yes.
I went away with my stick and held it. When we came back, my dad took all the sticks, put them together. We could see clearly. My brother cut his own. He knew he was the one that did it. So he was trying to cut it so that the growth would not be. So naturally, people who feel they're deficient in any way, they are the ones that fight even things that don't exist. A man who has, esteem problem and confidence issues are the ones that beat their wives. The woman who has confidence issues is the one that cheats. She's looking for people to praise her, to validate her. So any man out there who says, hello, you're looking beautiful, she sells attention to the person. But a confident man, a confident woman, knows what they are worth and knows where they want to be, and they stay there. So exactly what you're saying about the people in the political sector. Me and you, if we choose to go to politics, I know you took a shot.
I took a shot, of course.
But
that doesn't make me a failed politician.
It
makes it that I have tried.
Yes. So the point I'm making is, you went there hoping to get votes, isn't it? It doesn't work. I know it doesn't work because I was privileged to see my dad contest as well. So I know that getting votes doesn't work. Campaigning doesn't work. Now the question is, the things that work, am I willing to do them?
Exactly.
The answer is that me, Chilaka, is not.
Yes.
So that's why I'm not in politics. It's not as if I don't know what to do in our state to fix things. I know, but I don't want to do those things because I know I can succeed. Like when we were talking off camera, you told me there's a lot of money in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
So you have alternative. These men who are killing in politics are desperate.
They don't
have any alternative. They believe that's the only chance they have.
That's it.
So that's the kind of people we have in our political circle. That's why somebody will come out and kill another human being to take a political seat that will last for 4 years, for 8 years. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Now, before we came into the studio, I was discussing with you about Oriko, as we call it. I don't know the English word for it, but it's like eating from your own vomit, kind of. And in my own projection, or analysis or research. Many men and women are dying from Uriko. And that's because the family values have been devalued to the extent that many girls are catering for their parents from
Ill-gotten money.
not just ill-gotten money, as students. A student is funded by relations, friends, out of the heart. But where do you see yourself? Your child now sending money to you as Chilak and Joko, being a student.
Even if any of my kids, my daughter is in university, even if she had 1 million naira, she won't let me see it. She knows what will happen. Because it's a zero tolerance. That way, she won't even go for that kind of money. Now, what point am I making? The parents are the ones encouraging the children. I've seen very desperate situations where you find it very difficult to judge someone.
Yes.
There's a situation, when I think that was when I came out of school. A friend of mine met a lady, very beautiful girl. I think she was either 17 or 18 in the club. According to him, when he saw the girl, he knew that this girl didn't belong
here, where I saw her.
So he called the girl and said, "How much will I pay you?" And the girl said he wanted to take the girl out of the club. I was staying in his house, so I didn't go to club with him. So when I woke up in the morning, he had gone to work. I woke up to see the girl in the house. So I called him and said, "Boy, what thing happen? You carry something, come keep for your house." He said I should wait. When he comes back, you tell me the story. So when he came back, he told me what happened. So I engaged the girl in a conversation. She now told me her story. The dad used to work in an oil company. The mom didn't do anything. The dad never let them two do anything. The kind of upbringing we're talking about, soft life. Suddenly, the dad took ill and died. Not expecting that he would die, had no will. The brothers came in, took everything.
Cleared everything.
Even the elder brother of the man tried to take the wife, that's the mother of this girl, as his own. The woman refused. They sent her away. This woman is an only child. The mother lived in a remote village somewhere in Cross River State. That's where people who were living in luxury suddenly found themselves living in the village. The first brother took ill. They had no money to take care of him. He died.
Okay.
She had 2 other siblings left. At the time we were talking, one was sick. She said no, she would not watch another person die. The only option and thing she knew was a friend of her who brought her to Lagos to do prostitution. In this case, how do you judge this girl?
Yes. So, there can't be any justification for crime, getting into crime.
I know, but you see, that's why it becomes difficult to judge her entirely. But it's her reality. That's what it is. So there are situations like that. Outside of that, a lot of parents are the ones pressuring their kids to go into crime.
That's it.
When you say, Emeka, your friend Kunle
is riding this car.
You're here making noise. You're eating my food.
Does he have 2 heads?
A parent, your child will finish school. Instead of him to go, a son that should go in there and find out what's happening in the world. You keep him in your house and work his NYSC so he lives with you in your house. You're protecting him from the world. What do you expect him to do in your house to earn a living? When will he marry? How will he pay his bills? Let him go out there and see what's going on. No, we're very protective of the parents, of our kids. When we left school, we went to Port Harcourt to look for jobs. Some of our friends, their families were well to do in Enugu here. After a few months, when things got cooked up, they ran back home. Trust mothers. They gave them their cars to driving. Or you're dropping in the office, come and pick me around 3. This boy has a car. He's living in his house, his parents' house. He's feeding well. They give him BQ, where he could bring his girlfriend.
Yes.
He has access to food. They give him pocket money.
And even the ATM card.
So tell me, what is he fighting for? He's comfortable. We were in Port Harcourt, we were struggling. By the time we had gone through the bad patches and we started getting jobs, we were now coming back to town. Some of us were looking for wives, we're coming to Enugu with our own cars. These guys were already here. They were already stranded at that point because their needs were going up, their income wasn't. They were surviving on mommy's stipends. That's when they realized they had a problem. The parent had destroyed the son. In a man's life, there's a period when you're supposed to learn from experiences to prepare for the next stage of your life.
Yes.
Your 20s are very essential. If you lose your 20s sitting in your parents' house eating food, your 30s are going to be turbulent.
Yes.
If you lose your 30s, anybody employing a man that is over 40 wants a man that has experience, your 40s are going to be more turbulent. If you miss your 40s, you're going to die young because you're going to be tormented. You're supposed to build a family within 30s and 40s. You don't build one.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you're going to try building a family in your 50s, and you're going to be going for a school run when your mates are turning to grandfathers. Mm-hmm. The frustration and the stress is going to kill you. So parents they are key players in their children's life. The society changes, the society goes astray. It's the parents.
Yeah.
I think something has to happen about people who want to get married. They should be prepared somehow. Getting married and running a family is not about, getting intimate with a woman, having a woman available at your service.
No, that's the general thing.
Yes.
True.
So mentally, you have to be ready to, to be a teacher, to be a mentor. At some point, I stopped going out because my kids were growing. I refused jobs that would take me out of town because I have teenagers in the house. I need to watch them on a daily basis. I need to grow them on a daily basis. I need to mentor them on a daily basis. If I'm somewhere
At what age do you support giving a child a phone, Android or whatever?
Well,
because some parents see it as, how can in this modern age my child not have a phone? What if I need
the standard thing, if you ask me, is after secondary school. But there are exceptions to that rule because some situations you need to be able to make contact with the kids. Let's say a child who goes to school and comes back on foot or by public transport. To be able to trace me in case there's any incident, you might need a phone. But now, what type of phone?
That's the question.
Yes. So there's some kind of phone you shouldn't give to certain children. I've seen primary school kids that carry iPhone 15.
Yeah.
Now, I tell girls, a girl is dating a man. He buys you iPhone 15. He buys you the best luxury items. He buys you designer shoes. He's destroying you.
Of course. Say it loud.
He's destroying you because your satisfaction threshold is moving up. Your income is not coming with it.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the man who's going to marry is going to struggle.
The struggle will be Pro Max.
So you date, call it a criminal, call it an older man, whatever, that gives you 500,000 naira a month as your upkeep. He's killing you. Where will you find the discipline to work for? You will reject
every suitor that comes to you.
Even when you accept one, you will never respect your husband.
Oh yeah,
because he's going to struggle to buy a Lenovo for you. He's going to struggle to buy a Techno for you, and hoping that his wife.
All right.
I remember my wife's first phone. First phone when I met my wife, she was using a 3310. She was a final year medical student. For me, I was excited to see that. When I bought her the first camera phone, you need to see the joy. I also benefited from that joy.
All right. In rounding up now, the economic realities and implications. It's a very sad one. But is there any justification, like I asked for, a girl not taking charge of her parents' responsibilities, or stories that touch the heart, or a girl feeding her family, or parents now depending on their children who are in school and so on? Economic realities and implications. What is it for you in rounding up?
I can't find any justification. I can't find. Yes, I understand their difficulties. Okay, I've seen a situation where a married man is feeding the girlfriend's family, and he comes openly, and they know who he is because they want to survive.
But it's a no-go area for a man who has sense of shame.
I was in a restaurant some days back. I was eating with some friends. Some guy came in and said, I was asking for help. He wanted to eat. So the guy told him to go and take food and eat. He left to get food. So we're talking that things are tough. I said, it's really tough now. The guy made some comment. The guy that gave the food to the guy said, it's not true. There is an architect. If you're looking for someone to dig for you at site, you won't see. This boy will not agree to dig.
Exactly. I agree.
So going back to the parents, that parent that is looking for the short part, which is the daughter's boyfriend, to survive him, is not ready to work. It's not ready to work. It's just like a young man who is doing 419 or Yahoo, whatever they call it.
He doesn't want to accept a civil service job.
Outside civil service, there are a lot of courses you can learn online. And I know some of them I've tried to advise and say, why don't you learn something? There's a program, there are a lot of programs online you can learn. Coding stuff.
Many programs online.
Yes. There's some young boys in Enugu here earning from the internet, not from fraud.
Not from fraud, yes.
They're being paid by Disney and all sort of companies for doing things. $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month. And they sit in their house in the comfort of their room and they work and make money. But you have to learn. When your parents have not taught you that there's a process to get to an end,
yes,
you find it strenuous or difficult to go that way. We were taught that you have to walk through a path to get somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to also teach your children excellence. When you as a parent is paying somebody to take exam for your child, what child are you expecting? A child that will go to fight or the one that will look for a shortcut? You're training a criminal, not a son.
That's it. All right.
When your child fails in an exam in a school.
Some parents even go to write exam for their kids.
Yes. You take your child.
Or pay for it.
You take your child and move your child to another school where he will pass. The same child who didn't pass here is suddenly getting 90s here. You didn't ask why. You're just happy your child is passing. There's a school my kids were. They took an external exam. And when the results came out, I was talking with the preparator. And she told me that some parents came here and their kids didn't do well. I said, why didn't you give money to WAEC people? So that the kids can be allowed to pass. What are you asking? Allowed to become criminals. My daughter, I put in GCE for her after her WAEC. I wanted her to experience GCE. She got her papers. I said, you have to experience it. So I go to drop her myself. One day I came to pick her. There were only two of them inside the hall. Everybody was outside. I said, is this girl struggling with this subject? When she came out, I said, this girl, what happened? He said that she was writing. I said, how come everybody had finished? He said they were passing some papers around. They were all writing the same thing. So ASPO came in. She did not
take part in it.
She refused to accept it. I pat myself and said, I've done well.
All right. I think that's a very beautiful point to end this program, the K.O.K. Live on Afia TV. Always join us on channel 254 on DSTV, and channel 17 on GoTV, or official Afia TV on other social media platforms. Our guest today has been Mr. Chilaka Njoko, a tech expert, I would describe him. We've been able to analyze and bring to fore that the economic realities should not define what we are. The family values cannot disappear just because there is suffering and so on and so forth. There's a role for everybody to play, parents, children, family members, and so on. But especially, let's be very careful about what to do with the girl child. Because when you begin to box up responsibilities on the girls, they begin to think social media influence, peer pressure, and so on, and they become what we do not expect. For everything, don't forget, the family is the smallest unit of society, and whatever happens from the family degenerates into the bigger society, and there begins to be disconnect. Mr. Chilaka, thanks for being on the program today. We look forward to having you sometime in future.
Sure.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good luck and good day.